And happy weekend to all. Welcome to the program that analyzes the week that was and helps position you for the week ahead. I'm Maria Bartiromo. Thanks so much for joining us this weekend. A face-to-face after 4 months of delay. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Beijing this weekend for high-stake talks between the United States and China. It comes just days after a phone call where his Chinese counterpart reportedly told Blinken to show respect and stop meddling in China's affairs. That is setting the tone for this meeting. The U.S. State Department already downplaying expectations of any kind of breakthrough or transformation from this trip, as China's Xi Jinping warns of worsening relations with the West, urging his country to prepare for, quote, extreme scenarios. The chairman of the House Select Committee on China, Congressman Mike Gallagher, recently wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal slamming the administration's failed China approach, and he joins me right now. Congressman, it's great to have you this weekend. Thanks so much for being here.
Good to be with you.
Well, the fact that there was a phone call between Blinken and his counterpart in China, and they basically said, stop meddling, show some respect, that sets the tone for this meeting, doesn't it? What do you think comes out of it?
It does. It reminds me of the dressing down that our diplomats got in their first engagement that the Biden administration did in Alaska, where they were yelled at for 15 minutes by their Chinese counterparts. My broader concern is what this means for U.S. policy. And I worry that, like a zombie in a horror movie rising from the grave, engagement with China is back from the dead. They're resurrecting economic and diplomatic engagement as the central pillar of their approach to China for fear of provoking Xi Jinping or in order to reduce tensions. And beyond the fact that this has not worked for nearly 30 years, the problem with this zombie engagement is that the CCP exploits our ardent pursuit of meetings and photo ops as an opportunity to advance their agenda, their totalitarian, anti-American agenda. So when filtered through the ideology of a Marxist-Leninist regime, that olive branch we're eager to extend really becomes an invitation to aggression. And furthermore, and finally, we slow roll in pursuit of sitting down at the table. We will slow roll long overdue defensive actions like export licenses to Huawei, sanctions on genocidal CCP officials, transparency on the spy balloon and the Cuba spy base, just in order to get to the negotiating table. Thus, the price of zombie engagement is the death of common sense steps we need to take to defend our country.
Yeah, it's a great point, and you wrote all of that in your op-ed in the Journal. You know, I was talking with Michael McCall, chairman of Foreign Affairs, who told me that in a speech that Xi Jinping gave back in 2020, I looked it up, and in fact, he did say this in a speech in 2020, that Xi Jinping said we have to get the world to rely on the China supply chain in order to turn it off when we want to. So the whole goal here is to get the world to be so reliant on China that they can hold back the necessary items that the world needs whenever they want to. We felt that way during COVID. So why are we even trusting that they're going to do the right thing when time after time they continue to break the rules on the global stage, if you will?
Well, Chairman McCall is exactly right. And I think the key point here, for all the hand-wringing in Washington, D.C., and in New York in particular about selective decoupling or de-risking and all the phrases we're throwing around, the reality is that Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party have been consistently and strategically decoupling from us for many years now. I mean, what is made in China 2025, but a concerted strategy for decoupling from America and then increasing the leverage they have to coerce us and the world economically. They are trying to wean themselves off critical dependencies. They're trying to make sure foreign countries can't spread information on their digital platforms. They won't let other governments buy up frontier technologies or critical infrastructure like ports. But when we decide we want to do things like this, everybody freaks out on Wall Street or on K Street or in the think tank community. We need to take steps to not only stop funding our own destruction with American capital, but also start to reclaim our economic independence from the Chinese Communist Party. Because what would happen if they actually try to take Taiwan by force? Well, they're going to weaponize all these supply chains. They're going to weaponize pharmaceutical ingredient supply chain.
Yeah.
They're going to go to the mattresses to bring us to our knees. So we need to reduce their leverage and increase our deterrent posture.
So then why are we allowing all these unwitting investors to invest in Chinese companies that are either sanctioned on the entities list or tied to the communist military?
Well, this gets to the risks of the revival of economic engagement. This is the cost of zombie engagement, because what's happening right now is the administration's going all in on these diplomatic meetings, and Janet Yellen is out there giving speeches saying we need a healthy economic relationship with China. We need to foster growth and innovation in both country, and China can play by the international rules. Well, the executive order on guardrails for outbound capital has been shelved for now. I hope it comes out soon. Yeah. But regardless, Congress, we need to take action to make sure we are not funding our own destruction. Andy Barr is working on this. Blaine Luetkemeyer, both members of the Select Committee on China and the Financial Services Committee. I'm cautiously optimistic that in this Congress, we can pass a sensible framework that cuts off the flow of U.S. capital to Chinese military companies and technology companies perfecting surveillance and genocide.
I want to go back to the intellectual property issue that's been going on decades. Congressman, you wrote a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland leading this charge to investigate China's stealing of intellectual property. I know that this has cost U.S. companies hundreds of billions of dollars, $600 billion a year, hitting small businesses the hardest, Congressman. And I want to get your take on this. John Ratcliffe told me that the CCP strategy is clear. It's rob, replicate, replace. They rob you, they want to replicate your products, and then they eventually replace you. Is this what's going on with the IT theft? Intellectual
100%.
Property theft?
100%. John Ratcliffe, I love that framework, and that's a message that we need to send to the business community, which is eager to go back to the late 1990s and the early aughts and deepen our trade and dependency on China. This continues to go on. Or just look what's happened in the last 5 months as we've been chasing the CCP around the world. They raided the Beijing offices of 3 separate American firms. They targeted Micron in an effort to destroy its China business. They rebuffed our Secretary of Defense attempts to talk to them, and then they nearly collided with American forces in the air and at sea during unprofessional intercepts. So the more we ignore the aggressive behavior, the worse it gets. And it's not a coincidence that the more the administration is pining to get to the negotiating table, the more escalatory Beijing's behavior has become, because they know they can get away with it. So it's time we stand up. It's time we protect our intellectual property. It's time we protect our sovereignty, right? And because this is also absurd stuff like illegal Chinese Communist Party police stations on American soil. It's an affront to American sovereignty is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's total arrogance to start a police station in the United States. But isn't this partly the U.S.'s fault? Because we sent all the business to China. We wanted cheap products. We sent the production and the supply chains there so that we could make it in China and make it cheap. And then here you've got labor unions running the show when it comes to wages. So everybody wants cheap labor rather than market forces.
Yeah, we made a big bipartisan mistake, a big bet that doing that would also moderate the CCP's behavior. Obviously, that didn't happen. It did not work, which gets to my core point when it comes to zombie engagement. To return to that naive fantasy would be a massive, massive mistake. Let's not tell ourselves a fairy tale about an imagined China that does not exist. We need to get more aggressive. We need to defend ourselves before it's too late.
Congressman, thanks for your efforts. We're going to be watching it and keep a spotlight on it. We appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.